So good morning. Hope you are all well. Nice to have you here, Clara. We had someone else called Jasmine on the call. She's just dropped off. She had audio issues, but hopefully she'll come back. We know it's a chilly Saturday morning, hoping for a few more people to join in. We had a number of people registered. But yeah, it's good to have you here. Thank you so much for making time to join. My name is Melanie Hapisu. I am a digital marketer, so I consult, but I also run my own business called Digipath Africa. It's a marketing agency that helps people with their digital marketing needs. So it's such an honor to have you here. Looking forward to this discussion today around why your children should consider digital marketing as a career. Very close to both our hearts, Mercy and I. Mercy will be introducing herself in a few. It's very close to us because then both of us have a career in digital marketing. We both started right from scratch, not having an idea what this is. And it's been such a, great journey, just getting to learn and getting to grow as we, keep going by. So before Mercy introduces herself, I want you to just, for a minute, get into it, concentrate into what we are saying here. I know you may be somewhere doing something else, but we really appreciate you joining. And I want us to start just from the basis of a little story, and then I'll hand it over to Mercy to introduce herself. I want you to think of a young girl addicted to social media, always posting pictures of herself, always wanting to know what is happening in the online world, what's the new thing right now, who's posted what. I want you to pick that picture and then sort of imagine me, you're seeing on your screen right now. That was me, a young girl addicted to uploading pictures, seeing what people are doing online. And I remember all the time my friends used to make fun of it, simply because they were always like, you're always addicted to social media, you should make it your job. And of course, then I didn't know it was possible to make it my job. So what did I do? I simply ignored what they were saying. But when everyone kept on saying it, and I finally gained an interest in just discovering what this whole digital marketing is all about, I began to research and realized, wow, it's actually a career. In fact, in other countries other than Kenya, people are more specialized. They're not just digital marketers. You'll find someone telling you, I'm a Twitter specialist, I'm an Instagram specialist. And I look forward to us growing to that as a country one day. But what happened to that dream then, that I was slowly growing out of a small addiction I had for social media? I started, curiosity of handling friends' pages, handling families' pages, sort of to kind of give me confidence, for lack of a better way to say it. It's one thing for your friends to tell you, make it your job, but it's another thing to actualize it. So I started gaining that confidence by just handling people's pages. And, when I felt I had know-how, I now decided, let me now start applying for jobs. You know how overconfident you can be, especially when you practice a little bit and you think you're young, you're in the online space and you know everything. To my surprise, I was slapped with rejections. It was so funny. In fact, it was so shocking because then each time I'd go for an interview and get rejected, I'd be like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? But I now began asking what I did wrong and discovered it was all because I didn't have sufficient experience. And the experience I had was from friends and family. Was it being dismissed? No, they just wanted some more experience. But what happened to this dream eventually? It finally started coming alive. And I finally got a job at an agency. I will pause that story for now. We will continue with that story at some point. Welcome, Jasmine. I hope you can hear us. We were just telling a short story before I allow Mercy to introduce herself. I want you to think of that story I've told you in a bit, from not knowing what exactly making a career out of social media was, to landing a job at an agency after a few rejections. It's gonna build the conversation for today. So Mercy, karibu sana.
Thank you, Melanie, and hello, Clara and Jasmine. Thank you so much for coming here. I really love, Melanie, how you shared your personal experience with how you got into digital marketing and the space you occupy now. I feel like I'll start off with the same as well. I have been digital marketing for 6 years now. I am a digital communications consultant. I work with Melanie at Digipath Africa, as well as with a nonprofit called Growth Through Learning. So my story started with in university, I pursued a course in a science degree at JQuat. And for 4 years, I felt I was in the right space, but I always used to feel like there was something missing. Like I was able to explore my analytical side, and like I really like learning how things work, but there felt like the sociable space of myself that like what likes working with people was a miss, because I find myself in more lab case scenarios. So after I finished uni, I did a job. I was there for about 3 months, but I still felt the same thing I felt in uni. So I was able to, with the support of my parents, to be able to kind of take a break and figure out what I wanted. And I didn't quite say I wanted a break. I more or less said, you know, I wanted to work somewhere else. So I wanted to like more or less apply for other places, which obviously for like my mom, she was just like, how are you leaving a job that's paying you? You know, you left university, you should be happy that you have a job, which yes, I understand where she was coming from. But I remember just feeling it was too soon for me to get into a job that I wasn't too sure if I felt happy or like I felt like I fit into. So I started a business that was more or less diet and nutrition based. Then at some point when I was moving from, because I was still staying in school, around school, when I moved back home, I couldn't get clients for what I was doing. So I remember thinking, okay, where will I get clients? So I remember thinking I need to either develop a website or start selling myself on social media. So I started learning how to create a website. I learned how to do digital marketing. There are a few free courses then being offered by Google. So somehow I found myself being like, oh, this is actually really interesting. You know, you could develop a website really easily with WordPress platforms. And I remember feeling like it also felt kind of cool to be like, yeah, I can develop a website. So I found myself in conversations with people who are looking for someone who could do that. And one of my clients till now is actually someone I met there, who I was very honest about my journey of self-discovery, and they gave me a task to develop a website for them. And I did a good job. And 6 years later, I find myself still working with them, and it's a really interesting engagement because it's a nonprofit based in the US that does their programs here in East Africa. So it's a remote engagement. So I'm one of those people who, when COVID hit and people were learning how to work from home, I was like, this is my space of thriving. If you need consultancy for how to productively work from home, I can definitely do that for you. So that has been my journey so far. So with that, I'd like to more or less, I think I actually want to hear from Clara and Jasmine, where you're coming in from, and if you have a son or a daughter who you believe is interested in digital marketing, or what had you sign up for this session, just before I get into what we've planned. Karibu sana, you can unmute and share.
Maybe we can start with Jasmine now that she joined in.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Jasmine. So what motivated me to join this is I don't have a daughter or a child per se, but I am new in the digital marketing space. So I'm like you, Mercy, 6 years ago. I'm currently transitioning careers. So I did a training for digital marketing the other day, but I still feel like I'm new to this space. So I just thought that this would be nice to actually network and get to know people who are already in this space and try to see how I can join and become eventually a digital marketer. So yeah, thank you.
Nice, Karibu. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, this definitely is the platform for that. And we'd love to, Melanie and I, maybe after this call, be able to engage you further. And I think I can just read from the chat. Clara is saying, oh, thank you so much for thinking our stories are inspiring. Thank you. You're joining in here because you have a daughter who wants to explore this as a career. Awesome. So that means I'm kind of less speaking to my mom 6 years ago. So I love that and the opportunity for that. So I'll just go into now sharing my screen. I just prepared a few slides. So just give me a moment to retrieve that. Sorry, I have so many tabs open. Let me just get to Yes. Okay. Melanie, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see
Awesome.
it.
Let me just make this presentation based. Yes, so that is me. Digital marketing, I'll just start by a definition. It's also called online marketing, which refers to all marketing efforts that occur on the internet. So that should just give you the basis of like digital marketing is probably one of the widest forms of marketing. Because if you're looking at all forms of marketing efforts that occur online, you're looking at search engines, which is like Google. So for example, if you were to search digital marketing, all those options that come in, that's actually already online marketing, because the space for then platforms to be able to be visible is through efforts that are marketing efforts. Then social media is also another channel for that. Email and other websites to connect that help clients connect with current and prospective customers. That's all a basis of what digital marketing is. And it also includes any communication through text. So for example, and I think the Chicken Inn kind of Nando's franchise has been able to really do that well. When you go in and then you give your phone number almost immediately, or I think even like Java, almost immediately after you've left, you get a survey. That's literally digital marketing. That just by text is a form of that. So these are I've touched a bit in that definition about types of digital marketing, but this slide offers an even bigger insight into how many channels you actually have. So there's email marketing that I mentioned. So for example, Melanie being able to share on you on email about this event is actually a form of email marketing. Then influencer marketing is where you have brands using prominent people on social or people who are just prominent in the basis of like publicity, being able to carry their brands. Say, for example, I think Terence Creative, I was just realizing this week, has been really used by brands as an influencer. You're having him on Jumia, more or less doing everything and anything. And I think I even saw him, he's being contracted by Rhombus Concrete, I think, to do a few branding and more or less promotional content for them. So that's a really big platform right now in terms of digital marketing is influencers. Then viral marketing is where you have, that's viral content, say TikToks about an establishment, a restaurant, if they have like a really nice music or tone or like a funny element, the virality of it, resonating with the audiences usually has, if you have more eyeballs towards a certain video or something, then you have more people maybe even being interested to, oh, okay, so who exactly has produced this video? What do they do? Yes, then you have mobile marketing, which I mentioned, like Java being able to share with you a message after you purchase to find out, did you like our service? What did you what would you recommend? Would you recommend us to other people? Would you have us improve our service? That's mobile marketing. Then radio and TV ads is probably the oldest form of digital marketing, if you could say, just in the space of, they are part of a digital platform, but the space of existence is very different to, like, let's say if you were to say social. So with radio and TV ads, the difference would be just that it exists on a digital platform of digital media, but the space of like analytics and how much you can actually get to know about the performance of, say, a campaign or a message is very different. It's more the analog where you just have a campaign go through, like let's say you'd have Maina Kingangi during the classic, the morning session, talk about land for sale, but the space of being able to analyze how many people actually listen to that ad or how many people were able to convert is very limited in that space. So it's a digital form of marketing, but analog on the basis of being able to find out the reach and data. Then electronic billboards are definitely a space of digital marketing, which I think that one, I don't need to expound too much on that. We have more engaging billboards right now than we had before. So before, where you'd have like just a yogurt poster of like, Delamere, now you have more, like I think at the roundabout for Uhuru Highway, when you're approaching Haile Selassie, that particular billboard is a very good example of a digital first billboard, because you'll have like more or less very engaging content. I think at a time, I think it's that one or the one at University, we actually had artificial intelligence and cameras. So people, as they were approaching, you could actually be selected in that traffic interchange and your image then placed on the billboard, which was like, I think, one of the most exciting adverts or like billboards we've seen so far, for me at least, and I know also Melanie feels the same. Then search engine optimization is what I spoke about, which, okay, search engine optimization and pay-per-click, which are close on that image, kind of more or less relate. SEO, which is the short form of search engine optimization, more or less looks at like making your website's content more optimal to the space of your audience and target actually being able to get what they want on your website. So this is more or less a niche for people who are on the space of like website design and developers, and also people who create content, which is more or less writing copy for websites, to really make sure our website then, if someone was to search for, let's say, kids' clothes in Nairobi, that the content in their website would be able to have Google's bots be able to quickly reference that website immediately. And then in your search, it comes up. Now, pay-per-click, the difference is, other than having your website, have the right text, you actually pay Google to, when someone searches for clothes, kids' clothes, your website actually comes up. So that's a completely different niche that's also gaining a lot of popularity. And I'll actually have Melanie, I know she'll touch on it a bit, just in the space of everyone and anyone who has any kind of business right now who has a website. It's definitely something they want to look into, because then you don't want to find you've done a really good website, but if someone has to go up until page 3 or page 4 to find you, honestly, you've probably already lost them, because very few people will go even past page 2. Then you have Facebook, and that's like social media marketing, as an avenue for people to then explore digital marketing. And this is really, I think it's inexhaustible as a form of digital marketing. So you have Facebook, Instagram, you have TikTok now, you have Twitter, you have LinkedIn, and there are probably going to be so many more social platforms that are going to come, just because the space for people and audiences and platforms, there's still so much that can come up, because like TikTok, 2 years ago was not even a thing, and now it's taking over the space than even Facebook and Instagram. So then the last would be content marketing, which I feel like falls into all these different other platforms. Content is just anything that's written text or even video or audio. So you have podcasts, you have videos. So how this is a specific niche that has then this written content or any other kind of form of content being leveraged as a tool. So you have people now with their thought leaders, like in the space of like digital marketing, who then, if they write articles and blogs and maybe do podcasts, then that's the leveraging point for maybe getting clients or even making money. So you have people who like will write blogs, and then as you're reading the blog and you're seeing something really good, there's like a pop-up of, training being offered on this. So that's, I think, the widest form to speak about types of digital marketing. But the thing with digital, and Melanie and I have experienced, and I'm sure also Jasmine, you've kind of experienced as well, as there always be new things that come up. So this isn't what we can say is the only space of digital marketing existing, maybe today, but tomorrow potentially there'll be 3, 4 other channels that will come up. Because like here, I actually haven't mentioned e-commerce marketing, which is like obviously a really big space right now. So I'll just go into top digital marketing skills, just these 4. And this is like a very general basis of top digital marketing skills, but like I would like you to think about this in the space of, say, like now for you, Clara, what kind of things or proficiencies or strengths your daughter has right now that will go really well for her in terms of digital marketing, and also for you, Jasmine, just to think through, maybe even if like it's not something that's a strength right now, something you want to be able to improve on. One would be creativity. With so many people right now realizing that digital is a really good space to thrive in, you have to like be on top of things in terms of trends. You have to be on top of things in terms of how to push the envelope on making, even if it's like it's a very quote unquote kind of boring business, making it exciting and having people get excited about like what you're offering or what you could offer in comparison to another brand. Because like there's no idea at this point and ever that's unique. So if you're looking at like what I mentioned about kids' clothes, how many people sell kids' clothes? What differentiates you from the 1 million other people who are offering clothes? Then another thing would be strategic thinking. So with digital marketing, there always has to be a bigger plan. And like at Digipath, one of the things that we offer is definitely this, so digital marketing strategies. So a lot of clients we have who come on board, that's always the first conversation of like, what exactly are your goals and objectives, and how then, even if like you want social media, how does that fit into that space? Because then there's some people who honestly, even if they want social media, their business is not actually ready for it. Or even if they want social media, there's probably like, maybe they need to look at their sales revenue just in the traditional form better. So obviously strategic thinking is very important. Then analytical thinking is just, I think I mentioned before, so a lot of data comes up in digital forms of marketing. So being able to constantly look at, is this working? Is this, are we actually meeting people? Are we actually getting people who are interested? Is there any kind of traction? Even if like, and we're usually very clear about this, is there are no immediate results. Just because digital exists in a space where there are 10,000 other people who are competing with you, they are not, at very rare occasions, do you have someone, once they've interacted with like what Digipath Africa offers today, that they'll immediately call the line we have for clients. It's almost, I probably maybe 1 in 100, you know, like a 1% chance that's going to happen. So the thing with digital is you have to constantly be out there, such that at the point, maybe this customer is actually interested or ready to purchase, they can only think about you. So they want this and they've seen 10,000 people offer it, but they just can't get Digipath out of their mind. Yeah. Then knowledge on all things web and internet based, yes, is definitely important. And it doesn't need to mean that you're the expert in IT, you're the expert in websites, you're the expert on social media. It's just the knowledge of the platforms that exist at that point and interest about even developments and how these networks actually work is very important, because then it would be very difficult to leverage a career here if you're not actually interested in social media. Like now what Melanie said, her being able to actually develop her career was actually out of the quote unquote obsession with social media and uploading. The interest bit is very important. And I think like for Clara and also for you, Jasmine, if then there's an interest already just in how those things work, then being able to build a career mix is just so much easier. So I just thought of, in the space of speaking about careers, to kind of bring up the idea of like entry-level digital marketing careers, what they look like. So you have digital marketing specialist. This is someone who more or less kind of knows all the avenues. So if it's social media, if it's email marketing, they have a general expertise in that space. Then you have people who are just specialists in SEO, which is search engine optimization. Then you have people who are specialists in content marketing. So this is a really good avenue for people who like really are good at writing copy, people who are really good at designing images and that sort of thing. So content marketing. Then social media manager, this is someone who's really good at uploading content, say creating content ideas and calendars towards like a social media platform or a campaign. Then pay-per-click specialist is now people who would be specialists in the area of like Google Ads, what I mentioned. So being able to come up with campaigns and keywords. So for example, being able to think, okay, so Melanie offers digital marketing services. What kind of keywords would people want to be able to get this service? And then more or less on the back end provided by Google Ads and create campaigns like that. Then graphic designers. So all these things said, need an image, they need a really nice poster, they really need, you know, that sort of thing. They even need like, so I think graphics design, even in my thinking, we could kind of put even people who know how to do editing of videos in that space. So just being able to create rich image or audio or video content. Then affiliate marketing, now those are people who either can be able to work with influencers to then you'll have someone say, I have a Jumia code for like food on the weekend. That's literally affiliate marketing. It's using someone else's platform or influencer marketing to then get people to your site or to whatever product or service you offer. So that's the like basis, I would say, of entry-level digital marketing careers. And I feel like in my experience actually working with Melanie is these would be kind of like the big tag or names towards that, but there are smaller jobs or like, what I think the word is not smaller, but like sub jobs from these big careers. I mean, or like big roles. So for example, with Melanie at Digipath, I do captions for social media. So instead of just being a social media manager, if we are running with a client who's offering decor services, then as much as like, so in their social media, they need a post, they need a photo, they need a text to go with the photo. Because it's one thing if you have like a really good event you ran, but if you can't actually speak to someone who would be interested in this or who wants to know the kind of process to reach out, then you just have a good photo. So like for me, I do captions. So there's so many interesting, and the thing I really love about digital marketing is just that. So if your strength is say in writing and it's not in graphics, there's space for that. And there's space for very many different skills to be able to thrive. Then I won't go over this just because I already spoke about it in the space of the types of digital marketing, but that's like a glimpse into the different careers. Then you have, I think I'll also skip that and then go to the digital careers family tree. And I really like this. It's huge, the different kind of jobs that could come into the space of digital marketing. And I think for us right now in Kenya, you have a few agencies that are able to really leverage this and put all these different services into different careers. And the hope is more will be able to get into this space. But I think for someone either starting out their career, this is a really good space to see and find out a place to specialize in. So in the beginning, it's a good idea to kind of learn a lot of things, but in the space of actually occupying a space as a specialist or an expert, you want to be able to have like a good space where you can say, I understand all these things. Just because, as I said before, digital platforms are changing every day. Today, Instagram wakes up and decides their feed is going to look completely different from what it looked like last night. So if you find yourself in a space where you're trying to keep up with everything, it can be difficult. So with time, as your career kind of matures, it's always a good idea to more or less pick a niche where you become a specialist in. So I won't go over that, but I'll just I'll pick a few interesting things that maybe Clara, later on you could, if you'd like to have a discussion with your daughter about just like what she finds interesting, maybe you could go over it a bit more, and probably you could then, if you actually wanted to have a chat with us as well, just to kind of have a conversation about like what she's interested in and the actual opportunities right now, that would be really great, would be, so for example, there's customer relationship management, which I feel like digital really occupies really well with, so for example, brands like Jumia, they can be able to, from their data, be able to understand the first time you actually interacted with, let's say you are interested in this phone, be able to understand the first point you actually looked at, what you looked at, and even when you disappear, how to get this ad of that specific phone to you on your Facebook or on your Instagram. So, and I find that like one of the most exciting things digital offers is for everyone in whatever interest you have. If the platform or organization has like a really well thought through strategy, there are so many different touch points to follow you up until we make you buy this phone. So I'll stop at that. I hope that gives you a good glimpse into what digital marketing is and the kind of careers. I think I'll have Melanie, just before you actually start on what you do, if you could speak a bit about like, you know, how you've thought through Digipath's platform and the positioning with just careers, just a bit before you get into your, what you have for us. Thanks.
Okay. Wow, thanks for that, Marcy. That was excellent. I mean, in terms of careers at Digipath, for me, I'm a big believer of breaking it down. Simply because I worked at an agency at some point. Remember where I left the story at? And I was everything. I was the team. I was the designer. I was the person who comes up with captions. I was the strategizer. I was the approver. I was the whole team. And it was not fun. In fact, I really hated it, and it was very draining because then one person can only do so much.
I don't know if it's just me, but your internet is a bit glitchy. Jasmine, have you noticed that as well?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe we can just give her a minute. Let me text her. But maybe as she sorts that, just any questions so far?
No, not really. Not yet.
Okay. Clara, if you have any? Okay. So I think okay, yeah, Melanie is just getting situated. I think I will go over, I think I'll speak a bit also to what Melanie has said also in my experience. So, and even where I'm still working right now with a nonprofit is I do everything as well, which is really good, but in the space of actually being able to get the best out of efforts, it's usually better if you have a bigger team. But like now for me, understandably with the nonprofit is the funding towards being able to do a lot of marketing is limited, and more the scope of what they really want to be able to do is actually meet their beneficiaries. So what the nonprofit actually is about. So, but there are spaces, and I have been able to, with time, be able to get wiggle room towards being able to outsource a few things like video and photo content being done by freelancers. But the truth is, for a lot of people, even right now, and probably Jasmine, you've seen this, a lot of jobs and job descriptions will have someone do everything. So it needs to be good at being able to take photos, someone who's good at doing graphic design, someone who's good at so many things. But thank you, Melanie. I am seeing you're back. You can continue.
Thanks. Interesting conversation. Sorry, guys, lost power a bit. But I was just saying, I found so much value with having everyone have a specific role, because then you're able to, in terms of having like a structured process, it sort of makes the job a lot easier. I hope you can still hear me. Mercy,
Yeah,
you
we can
hear
hear
me?
you. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I feel like it makes more sense to sort of break it down. And I mean, when you look at the goal here is to become like the agencies abroad. And I think there's so much value that they provide by just having like a more broken down kind of structure. And you're able to actually measure at what point of the structure do things break down and how can you improve it. But when one person is doing everything alone, there's so many reasons as to why they could break down, but you're not doing anything to solve it. For me, I'm a big believer of sort of breaking those roles down. So I want us to just have a conversation for the remaining minutes, around this interesting, huge thing we are calling digital marketing. Remember, I left off my story at I finally got a job at an agency after getting a few rejections. But the flip side of this coin, which is the whole point of this short event we are having today, is what then did my parents have to say about it? What then did the wider community have to say about this whole digital marketing challenge? So at first, everyone thought it's a joke. Like, you just want to post for people on social media for a living? How? And I remember at first, you don't think how crazy it sounds until someone else says it. Then I'm like, oh, that's what they think I do. Like, that's how they understood it. And I mean, there was a lot of rejection. In fact, I remember even after getting the job at the agency, even my own folks, it's one of those jobs that I'm just shikiliering. And after some time, I'll get a good official job in the industries that, African parents know. So for now, I was just, passing time and just, doing what I had to do at that time. And honestly, that doesn't make it any easier, because then having a career in digital marketing alone is already hard enough. And if you're not committed, you will give up with the fight. Why? Because it's a unique career. Sometimes I imagine, in fact, right now in our day and age, digital marketing is not the worst career ever. Today, if your daughter or son came and told you, I want to become an influencer, as in, things have gotten way worse right now. If someone came and told you, I just want to become an event promoter, as in, I think right now, according to African parents, it's gotten worse. So sometimes I encourage myself and other parents, and I tell them, you know what, at least your child wants to become a digital marketer. Imagine if they came and told you they wanted to become anything that an African parent fears. So I'm telling you this whole story because you won't be the first parent to, think it's out of this world to become a digital marketer. No, there are many. It's understandable, it's acceptable, but we all can't become doctors and lawyers and engineers. No. And at the end of the day, it's all about our dream. you know? And sometimes I laugh because us younger people fight so much for our dreams, unlike how our parents used to fight for it. And it shocks our parents to some extent. So for me, for example, when I was getting into the digital marketing career, it looked like just one of those things I wanted to do so that I don't have to go to an office 8 to 5, so that I don't have to work so hard. But trust me, Kenyatta can tell you, in fact, yesterday I slept at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. working. You know, I'm not saying that every day is like that, but just like any other career, we have days where we will fully work the 9 to 5. We have days where we'll work 2 hours. We have days where we will not work, sometimes because you don't feel like working, but sometimes because there's actually no work. So just like any other job, we sort of go through the same process. And sometimes you need to be able to understand that so that you know it's actually a real career. It's not that we're wasting time. But I think the biggest thing then, you know, sort of a motivator for an African parent is fine. If you make this your career, full-time or part-time, what does it look like in terms of returns? Returns both in monetary form and non-monetary. I'll start with non-monetary. Not only have I been able to learn how to market other businesses, but I've been able to market myself, you know, and in fact, I can shamelessly say my first job did not come as a result of me applying CVs and, you know, sending my CV on email. It came as a result of how I positioned myself on LinkedIn. It came as a result of me feeling confident enough to see a few other jobs in agencies and applying, even if they didn't advertise for digital marketers, me telling them, I've looked at your pages and I see you have a need and I think I can help you. So it helped me be able to market myself. It helped me be able to market businesses. It helped me be able to market other individuals. Today, if you walked up to Mercy and I and told us you want us to help you position yourself on a platform like LinkedIn, it's not something difficult for us. It's something we can do. It's something we can implement across the board. But the money side, how does that look like? Just like any career, you're the one who will negotiate for yourself. Your child is the one who will negotiate for themselves. If you see you have this amount of value, ask for that amount, you will get it. But realistically, if you're starting from freelancing, say for the first time, I'll gladly tell you, when I started, I was charging my friends and family 5,000 a month to manage their pages. Of course, I didn't know that was very cheap then, but that's what I started with. But I can tell you, it can grow. I know people who charge retainers of 250,000 per month right now, you know, as shocking as it may seem, but it's a level you can get into. And those people are not agencies. They're working as individuals, consulting, freelancing, but that's the kind of amount they are billing. How do we get to that 250,000? Mercy just mentioned. Digital marketing involves a lot. Social media alone involves a lot. If you tell someone today to manage your social media page, it's not just posting. They'll need to come up with the captions, they'll need to come up with the designs, they'll need to manage your page, reply the comments, reply the inquiries, they'll need to measure, track, and report how are things doing, what is working, what is not working. They'll need to set up ads to be able to reach more people. How many jobs are those? You cannot bill, even if you're the only one doing it, you cannot bill as if you're billing for one job. Those are different entities of jobs within one thing that we're calling social media management. So you can find yourself charging for a designer, charging for a copywriter, you know, charging for an ad specialist, charging for, you know, those different things. And I usually encourage people to be like that, so that even when you're working alone, always operate as if you're working with other people, so that you can charge the best amount possible to get the most value from yourself. So you can already see the money aspect looks good. You know, I know you're probably thinking, wow, so much money. Yes, but it takes growth. You cannot start digital marketing today and assume that if you start today, by next week, you'll be making that 250,000. No. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So it needs to take time. Like any other career, the higher you go, the more experience you have, the more value you get. So always consistently think about that. I can see Clara in the chat saying the money sounds good. Definitely, it sounds good, but it takes some work, you know, to sort of get there. So for me, I remember I started off as a freelancer, working on friends and family's pages, slowly went into the agency life, which I'll tell you in a bit how that was. You know, at some point quit and went into consulting on my own. That went really well. And finally, right now, I have my own digital marketing agency. Trust me, that was not the dream. I was an employee I had for life. So this whole company thing, for it to start, honestly, I got out of my comfort zone, but I'm really glad that I got here because there's so many opportunities, whether you're alone, whether you're working as a company. In this space of ours of digital marketing, there's a lot of opportunity. Can digital marketing pay your bills? Yes. Yes, I can proudly say for the past, say, 2.5 years since I moved out of my parents' house, I have managed to have digital marketing pay my own bills. Proudly, no struggle, no other side hustle. My main hustle is this digital marketing. So yes, it's very possible. And it's not actually because I have a company. Even before I had the company, my company is now a year old. So before I had the company, digital marketing was still paying the bills. In case your fear is, oh, what if it's not possible to pay the bills? No, no, no. It's going to be fine. And sometimes just let us discover. If worse comes to us, we will come back to your house. You're our parents. That's the truth of the matter. You're our parents, and we will come back to that house. So it's been amazing journey for me in this career. It's not been easy at all to stay in this career. I told you I'll tell you about agency life. Agency life was not a joke. The number of late nights I had, the amount of work I had as Melanie, the team was crazy. In fact, sometimes I'd almost break down when we go for a client's meeting and we tell the client, we have a team, a digital marketing team. And I'm just there thinking, excuse me, which team? I'm the team. So agency life was the craziest for me. In fact, honestly, the experience I got was amazing. For anyone who's starting their digital marketing career, I would recommend a busy environment like an agency because you get out of your comfort zone, you learn a lot. But again, what it can do to your mental health if you're not careful is not funny. Then what makes it, a lot worse is some young people, especially in this space of ours, we don't like to speak out how we are feeling. So you'll end up getting overwhelmed, and all that. So even if you have a child, who gets a job at an agency, try be there for them, try be their friend, so that in case work is too overwhelming, you can always be there for them. And these things happen. These big companies, the Deloitte, the PwCs, they work like cows, honestly, not in a bad way. But whoever complains because it's a big brand name. So at the end of the day, the experience you get from that brand name or this agency that we're talking about is worth it. I've taken such a short period to run through my career and start my own company simply because I worked at agency, as compared to someone who worked at an individual company, marketing department. The growth is slower. Agency, there's pressure. I remember at some point I was handling almost 5 to 6 big brands. That was not a joke. Remember, I'm the team. So handling 5 to 6 big brands is not funny at all. So you need so much stamina to be able to determine that. Life as a freelancer in itself, not easy as well. You're working alone. Sometimes you have to outsource because you can't work on the project on your own. Sometimes you won't be paid. Sometimes you won't be paid on time. It's worse. I think people are more scared of companies than they are of freelancers. Sometimes people just, they look at you and they're like, we're not paying you. So these things happen. But at the end of the day, I'm encouraging you as a parent out there, teach your child these things. No one taught me about contract. No one taught me about what happens if a client doesn't pay you. What do you do about it? You have to go the legal way. How do you fight for your money until you get it? Because you did that work. You actually did that work. In fact, it becomes worse when you get a company, because then there's more stress in addition to the digital marketing, not just, the digital marketing, but, PRA is here knocking on your door. You're here trying to build a team. Mercy can tell you for free, it's been very hard, building a team. I think my biggest struggle right now was ensuring that people can manage more than one project. And when I discovered that my team cannot manage more than one project per person, I decided, no problem. Each person will have one project. So instead of overwhelming someone and very well they're not able to handle many projects, why not then distribute the projects you have amongst people? I'm curious, Mercy, how has it been for you in this career? How have you managed to stay, through it all? 6 years is a long time. How has that been?
To be honest, I think especially because my job is remote, I've been able to find a way to prioritize like times of rest. I've been able to prioritize being able to enjoy my life, wachana not just the career, but to enjoy my life. Because I think as much as like work can be very overwhelming, because I am able to more or less create my own schedule around how I do things, I then either decide to burn like burn myself. I work completely like hours and hours and hours and hours. And then I give myself when I am done with this from Friday to Monday, I'm off. That's what I've decided to do. So I have moments like that. And then I have moments even with you, Melanie, and I thank God for such a boss like you. I can just tell you, to be honest, today I've woken up with cramps. Even if I wanted to do this, the way the creative space this job requires needs to me to be at 100%. So I know this is due at this time, but today I can't work on it. So I'll still deliver it at this time, but today I honestly can't even respond to this message about like my progress. So I think that's how I have been able to manage. But to be honest, I think there are moments, I've had my moments by the way I wanted to give up. Where I'm just like, this digital marketing thing, I don't know. I don't think this is going to work for me. Then I just realized, you know what? I think in terms of like the future, this career is the best option I have in terms of staying marketable, of being a niche or space that's going to continually grow. So I then convinced myself to stay. Yeah.
Wow. So nice. I mean, as you can see, just like any other career, you know, and I like parents to think of it like that, because think of when COVID hit, many brands now started working from home. Many of them could not do the usual meetings they would do. In fact, I remember when COVID began, I trained very many salespeople how to market online so that they could get those potential leads they were getting. So be open-minded. There's so much that this career has. You know, I can see Clara saying she'll share the recording with her daughter. Definitely, you'll have the recording, and we'll try as much as possible to push this recording to as many parents as possible, because it's something that's actually extremely necessary. We all need it, you know. And Mercy and I thought that this talk would be so important, because then we have a training that is specifically catered for young people who are interested in starting a digital marketing career. And this training, we've put it into sort of a masterclass, you know, so that then we're not taking too long to sort of help you discover what this career is about, but it's done in that period of time in a practical way, so that after each session, you're sort of able to pick out, this is what I've liked from this session, this is how I can implement it on an actual brand. And if you don't have any client, because then that's what happens most of the time, we have clients that you can use as practice. You know, you can use them for practice even as we do the training. And the best part is then by the time you're done with this training, not only do you understand what digital marketing is, today Mercy has done an overview, but during the training, Mercy takes us deeper into understanding what exactly does it entail, how exactly do you understand what SEO is. You know, today was just a brief intro. How do you get to understand what running ads on social media or any other platform involves? You know, you get to navigate the different platforms. The way you know Facebook as a personal user, not the way the business side of Facebook looks. So we get to talk to you about that. We get to talk to you about why it's important to track, measure, and report all your efforts. You can't just be managing a page for a client and you don't know what is working and what is not working. So we go through so much. And as we send this recording, we'll actually share the course outline with you, just so that then you can have an idea of what it entails, you know, that training. But we are open to taking any registrations for it. The course costs a total of 10,000 shillings only. Can you imagine how subsidized we've made all this wonderful information with all this wonderful experience we have? You know, only 10,000 shillings, you know, and it's actually a very good investment you can make towards a career in digital marketing. We are teaching you based on our experience. I don't think there's anything better than that. You know, I remember when I first was interested in learning digital marketing, I was just coming across masterclasses that were 1 day long, 4 hours, 6 hours, and you're overwhelmed with so much information, you don't even know where to start from there. But for this, we'll be working with you, Mercy and I. You know, sometimes we do it in a group setting, not too many people, you know, say 4 or 5 people. Sometimes we do it one-on-one, depending on how the registrations go, depending on availability of the people who register. So this will be something that is very, very close to you. And I really encourage you, either register your child or refer someone who would actually be interested in it, because it's going to be the best investment of their life. I don't think personally I would take any step back, you know, and change my mind in taking a digital marketing career, because it's been so fulfilling. So yeah, I hope this sort of webinar has opened your eyes towards, you know, why this is something you should actually consider allowing your child to do, for those ones who've asked, or for those ones who have children who are still confused and don't know where they want to be. This can be a career that you suggest to them. You know, I know people who finish their uni who are just like, I don't know what I want to do. This could be something that you suggest to them. And all I say is, remember, this is not forced. If they take the training and, you know, decide to take the career, better for you. If they take the training and decide they don't want a career in digital marketing, the skill is still useful in marketing themselves for whatever other role they would want. So in short, that 10,000 you'll have invested won't be a waste of money. They will use it one way or another, either in their career or either in their personal lives. Any final words from you, Mercy?
I really like that you mentioned that they could still use it for themselves, because I think Melanie and I have really noticed over the years that like being able to position yourself in whatever niche just on LinkedIn opens up so many opportunities that I feel like when I still hear people honestly at this point say that they haven't been able to get jobs, my question is always, where are you positioning yourself? Do you speak about what you do? Do you speak about your experience? Do you speak about your passion? Because right now, and I think even the data is available online and you can find it, is LinkedIn recruiters. LinkedIn is actually recording the highest number of people who are actually just getting jobs off that platform, just by the basis of actually being present and positioning yourself online. And I think there's so much opportunity still that exists in that space, that just by that masterclass that we're offering allows you to be able to put yourself there. So I really like that angle, Melanie, that even if you don't decide to take a digital marketing career, it is still going to be important for you to be able to understand how to leverage and position yourself online. Yeah.
Nice, very, very important. I like that you brought the LinkedIn aspect, specifically because then for me, when I think about it, even right now for the company, we still get clients through LinkedIn. In addition to getting clients, I still get personal speaking opportunities through LinkedIn. So it's such a huge, huge, huge opportunity for it. And I really look forward to, you know, like us guys having more conversations with you. In case you have any questions, even after this session, feel free to always ask. I think right now for the next few minutes, I'll just leave room for any questions in case there are any. Clara, I know you're somewhere where you can't talk, but feel free to write them in the chat. We appreciate you coming. Jasmine, in case you have any questions as well, this is opportunity. We'll just leave the next 3 to 4 minutes for questions before we drop off the call. But thank you so much for your time.
I don't have a question per se, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for this information. And I was actually looking at you guys on LinkedIn and I realized we're in the same school. I'm doing an MBA in USIU. And then Melanie, you did a digital masterclass in 2018 in Digital for Africa. And I just did that last week.
Wow.
Yeah, this is crazy. And you also did the fundamentals of digital marketing. I'm actually trying to do the exam right now to kind of
Hey.
so
wow, we were destined to meet.
Yeah, we were destined to meet. So yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. And I don't know, maybe